On July 18 at 10:30 a.m., a scruffy overweight man wearing a red t-shirt and trousers came at the entrance of a 3-story yellow building in Uji, a tranquil suburb of the historic city of Kyoto, Japan. 70 personnel of one of the nation's most beloved entertainment firms, Kyoto Animation, or Kyoani as fans affectionately called it, were in the building when it burnt down. What led to this? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories. This story takes us to the beautiful city of Kyoto in Japan. Kyoto is to the west of the popular city of Tokyo. Shinji Aoba was a 41-year-old guy with a prior criminal record. In 2016, he was freed from jail after serving a 3-year term for stealing from a Tokyo convenience store while armed with a knife. Kyoani, often known as Kyoto Animation, produced several popular novels, comics, and animation, such as K-On! Kyoani would annually organize a writing competition accessible to the public, with the winner receiving 1 million yen and the potential of their piece being adapted. Shinji was one of the many ambitious writers that participated in the contest. Aoba is not a professional scriptwriter, but he submitted a novel to Kyoto Animation's yearly novel writing contest. At some point, Kyoto Animation published a work in which Aoba believes they plagiarized his work. He went ahead and informed the corporation, but nothing was done about it, so he decided to take action himself. On July 17, Aoba's neighbor Matsumoto asked him to stop banging on the wall, and Shinji grabbed him by the hair and shirt and threatened to kill him. "You're annoying. I'll kill you. I have nothing to lose." Aoba eventually let him go. Matsumoto, too terrified to remain at home, immediately walked to the police station to submit a report. After assaulting Matsumoto, Aoba fled Saitama abruptly. On Monday, July 15, he rode the bullet train to Kyoto and checked into a hotel in the city center. The following morning, Aoba traveled to the Kyoto suburb of Uji, where the Kyoani studios were located. CCTV cameras captured him at many spots along the route, including an internet cafe south of Kyoto Station. That evening, he stayed at a different neighboring motel. Aoba entered a hardware store on Wednesday, still wearing the pants and red t-shirt he wore before assaulting Matsumoto, and purchased a metal trolley. He pushed the contraption 6 miles north, periodically trudging along the Uji River's banks. That afternoon, he stopped at an Ineos gas station and purchased 10 gallons of fuel, which he then placed into the trolley in 2 red plastic containers. At 10:30 a.m. on the 18th of July 2019, a 41-year-old Japanese man carrying 11 liters of gasoline entered the unlocked door of Kyoto Animation and set it ablaze. The explosion spread fire like wildfire. He allegedly yelled "Die" in Japanese as he poured 11 liters of gasoline on the entryway of the studio and set it on fire, trapping approximately 70 employees inside.
When the fire broke out, about 70 people were inside the building. So we checked the whereabouts of these people using their mobile phone contacts. We also checked the number of the people who made it outside safely.
Kyoani had 3 floors, however sprinklers were not required for buildings of that scale in those days. Without sprinklers, nothing could contain the blaze. At reality, easily combustible things such as paper sketches aided the spread of the fire in the animation studio.
There were some women inside the building. Firefighters had to break windows to pull them out.
10 seconds after the initial explosion, the first floor of the structure was a 957-degree Fahrenheit furnace. Within 20 seconds, the entire second story was consumed by flames. 25 seconds later, the windows on the third story fell out. In less than a minute, deadly black smoke with a temperature of almost 200 degrees reached the uppermost parts of the building. Many employees attempted to run to the rooftop, but they were unable to open the entrance. At the top of the spiral staircase, adjacent to the door to the rooftop, many people perished. The fire was so intense that many witnesses could do nothing but watch helplessly. By the time the fire brigade gained control of the blaze, at least 33 people had perished, and 3 more were hospitalized. In the middle of the fire's pandemonium that morning, a neighbor who lived directly across from Studio One rushed to the aid of the enormous man who had escaped from the building's front door, sprawled on the street and visibly burned. 2 Kyoani employees who had also escaped the burning building began chasing him while sprinting. They tackled and restrained him on the ground. The man said, "They stole my work, as the police began to intercede.
He seemed to be in pain, irritated and suffering. He was also angry and seemed resentful.
He insisted on speaking with the business president. Those that escaped did so during the first minutes of the fire. Some were able to escape from the first level, fleeing to surrounding buildings. At least one man jumped to safety from a window. Shinji Aoba himself was severely burnt in the explosion. His hands, feet and other areas of his body was severely burnt. He was given a 1% chance to survive. He would spend lots of months in the hospital. In October, as victims continued to succumb to burn injuries, Aoba regained consciousness and thanked the team of nurses and physicians who had cared for him, while also admitting that he had intentionally targeted Studio One. "I believed I could injure a large number of people," he reportedly told authorities. "I've done stuff that went off the rails," he said in a mysterious manner. He informed detectives he anticipated receiving the death penalty, according to local media sources. In Japan, capital punishment is legal but uncommon. Aoba has not yet been arrested and remains in the burn unit of a hospital. Under Japanese law, a hospitalized suspect must be transferred to police custody as soon as an arrest is made. Authorities have stated that they are waiting for Aoba's health to improve before transferring him to a non-specialty prison hospital, as he sustained life-threatening burns on approximately 90% of his body during the attack. As the year came to a close, hospital officials disclosed that Aoba was the first significant burn victim in the history of Japan to get only synthetic skin grafts. The hospital system had a limited supply of donor skin, so they chose to exclusively utilize it on his victims. Shinji Aoba's arrest warrant could not be executed for nearly 10 months because Shinji's serious injuries had to heal and he had to be pronounced physically fit. To provide some relief to the sufferers, Kyoani established a bank account for redistributing donations. After 5 months, they have amassed around 3.2 billion yen, $29.6 million. There were 70 personnel in the studio that day, and 36 of them perished. Only one person escaped uninjured. 27 of the 33 surviving victims returned to work, while 3 others returned momentarily before deciding they needed more time. The owner decided to demolish the building after considering it for a while. This was done out of respect for those who died in the fire. Aoba was finally indicted on numerous offenses, including murder and arson, but it took almost 6 months of psychiatric treatment for prosecutors to determine that he may be held legally liable for the attack. There is no scheduled date for the beginning of his trial.